We are David and Jessica Hayes, authors of the Hayes Guidebook to the Costa Blanca.
Today we're going to go on a scenic driving route down to the coastal town of Mazarron and then see some more of the stunning scenery of the coast before heading up inland into the mountains and discovering the military outpost.
So join us in our trusty Hayesmobile as we embark on what is truly one of the most fantastic days out from the Costa Blanca. On part of our Costa Calida Scenic Drive Day, we arrive at the old village of Mazarron.
Mazarron's a great place to come to start your day out because you can visit the town hall here, known as the Ayuntamiento, and get yourself a nice map so you don't get lost and you can make sure you see everything there is to see.
An old traditional mining village, you can still see the beautiful colours surrounding the mountains of where they used to mine all of the iron from this area.
It's a lovely old town, Mazarron. It has a very nice tranquility to it normally. However, today, setting up for a fiesta in the town square. But when you're here, make sure you go and visit the two churches, especially the Church of the La Pureza, which is the patron saint of Mazarron. And then you have the castle on the hill as well as the Casa Constitucional to take a look around. So lots to do here before you get down onto the beach for the rest of the day.
What Jess and I like to do on our days out is Jess likes a lot of things that are slightly different to what I like. So first of all, we're going to go and find a church and a museum for Jess. Then we're going to go and find a coffee house and the beach for myself. You ready?
I'm ready.
Come on then. So first things first, and off to the town hall to get our map of the area. English is spoken in most tourist informations and town halls, and they're always eager to help you, especially if you have a smattering of Spanish too. You'll find the local maps are usually in English and are a must if you want to get the best from the area.
That's what I like, wandering around looking at the old buildings. It's got a real feel like the other mining villages of Murcia, like La Union. Got all the old buildings with the balconies and the streetlights. I like the streetlights.
Look Jess, there's a swallow's nest.
Gosh, I can't believe you spotted that, Dave.
Eyes like a hawk, Jess. I spotted you, didn't I?
What's so nice about coming out and about is you never know quite what you're going to stumble on.
I know, I didn't realise it was market day in Mazarron on Saturday.
No. Oh, what nice vegetables.
It's a really nice setting, Jess, isn't it?
It's lovely in the church square with the fountain.
Oh, such richness of flavour and smells and colours.
Also
Love it.
nice and fresh in the breadbasket of Spain.
Yeah.
Murcia only covers 2.2% of Spain.
I know.
But yet it produces so much fruit and veg.
It's an incredible stat, that is.
And that is what all this part of the market is for. Look at the size of those grapes. The fresh strawberries.
This is the church you wanted to come and see, wasn't it?
It is. It's from the patron saint of the village, La Pureza. And that's dedicated to her, this church. Pretty, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Reminds me of the church in the old town of Benidorm.
Yeah, it does have that sort of look about it, doesn't it? It's another great place to go for the day.
Can't wait to go inside. Do you remember the last time we came and we really wanted to come in and it was closed?
It was. Let's go and have a look. I hear it's stunning inside. Dedicated to the patron saint of the village, La Pureza.
That's right, there's a special fiesta in November, isn't there,
The Sunday before the 17th, they take their statue of her from Bolnuevo to here, and then the following Sunday they take her back to Bolnuevo. It's a big procession, big pilgrimage.
And that week in November, there's lots of other exciting fiestas going on.
There is. There is. She became the patron saint of the village because she helped expel the Algerians when they came to try and invade. And ever since then, she's been their patron saint. Isn't that glorious? How far back it goes.
If you like historic buildings, you'll love this town with its watchtowers, hilltop castle, ancient streets and history oozing from every side street. The towns and cities in Murcia province escaped the massive 1829 earthquake which devastated the Orihuela Costa, and that's why so many historic buildings in the region from before this time still remain to this day.
That's what I like about the villages over here is you turn around the corner, you don't know what you're going to see, like this little plaza here from 1869.
Dates back a long way. And there was another church you wanted to see, which I believe, according to my map, is just round this corner.
I think you might be right there, Mr. Hayes.
Not being a church lover, Jess, I found that last church stunning, to be fair.
But it was quite different. The ceiling was all flat and it was just painted, but it did look so stunning. Gosh, this one looks like they've forgotten to do anything to the outside of it.
Yeah, it's completely different.
Contrast, complete contrast.
Yeah. Almost medieval looking. I bet these flagstones have got a story to tell, Jess.
It must be many years old. Perhaps they've had horses' hooves, cartwheels.
Hundreds of years old. Leaving the old town of Mazarron behind us, we head south along the beautiful Costa Calida coast and to Bolanuevo, where we find a beautiful vantage point from where we can look up the gorgeous coastline. Our scenic driving day of the Costa Calida. Costa Calida meaning the warm coast, all part of Murcia's coastline.
Murcia has 250 kilometres of coastline, but Mazarron itself has 35 kilometres. It's got a numerous number of beaches, and what they've done is they've themed their beaches. So some beaches are specifically for children, some are specifically for sport, some are specifically for the elderly, and some are even specifically for people who don't like to wear clothes at all.
Fantastic, we'll have to take that in today. The beaches here on the Costa Calida stretch south to the beautiful coastal town of Aguillas, and they then go all the way up, all 250 kilometres of them, to El Mojón, which is more famous for people in the Orihuela Costa area because it's just on the border between Murcia and Alicante, around Pilar de Aradada.
It's nice looking out today because you can see the sand, but at high season you can just see a sea of parasols and then the sea right beside it.
Our favourite area, whenever we're back in Guatemala at home, we always say, oh, let's take away today, let's go on a day out. And we do really love coming down to the Costa Calida and doing our scenic driving day, working our way through the cliffs, the coves, the coastal walks, the beautiful golden long sandy beaches, the quaint tavernas, restaurants, and of course the scenery that goes along all the way back home.
So you go on the motorway at Torrevieja and it'll take about an hour through the tolls, past La Manga, down to here, and you can have a full day out.
Get in the car, get your neighbours, get your family and your friends and come down to the Costa Calida. It will be somewhere we guarantee you will come time and time again.
I just love the sound of the sea.
Look at this, Jess. Beautiful, absolutely.
Anybody would think we were on holiday.
Yeah. I think, to be fair, this is one of my favourite days out in the guidebook.
Look at that family on the beach there, Dave. It's millionaires living.
Yeah.
If you come down, you can have the whole beach to yourself.
Good on them.
And then you've got the man here who's probably seen it all, seen it with no development, seen it with no houses, tending to his fishing boat, which probably looks about as old as he is. So from here, which is our viewpoint in our book, if you look out at the back here, you can see the sand sculptures that we're going to go down, and you can actually walk around them They look quite small from here, but when you stand up to them, they're about 5 or 6 times our height.
The Bola Nueva erosions are a wonderful example of the natural beauty of nature. I remember reading about these in the Murcia tourist guide, Jess.
They're certainly a spot to come and visit.
They're amazing, aren't they?
I've never seen anything quite like it before, have you?
No. They're like large fungi mushrooms or something.
A bit like an outside cave, a bit like the stagomites and stagotites that you'd find in them.
The closer you get to them, the more imposing they become. How's the natural erosion there, Jess? What?
Well, as far as I know, it's the wind and the rain, but it should tell us on this little information board here. Look, it's in English.
Fantastic.
The enchanted city of Bola Nueva. It's made up of sandy loams of yellowish sandstone.
Predominantly erosive stage takes place, which, as well as being conditioned by wind, water and rock type, is also affected by tectonics. Look at that view, Jess, like a picture frame.
They look so different from whichever angle you look at them. One day, Dave, the top of that will fall off.
Yeah, I know.
That'll be a sad day.
I wouldn't like to be here when it happens.
No. These are 4 million years old, and at that time the sand was laid down, and then over the millennium the different pressures of the earth has compressed it and made it slightly harder than your normal sand, and then the wind and the rain of the last century or so has sculpted it into these shapes. Because it used to be sand and there's now sandstone, it's so soft that it gets moulded very easily, so it's always constantly changing, so you have to come back every year to see all the changes.
On this show we vowed to take you places no other cameras have been before. Look at the road! The beautiful Bay of Mazarron Port, Jess.
It's a lovely port. There's over 200 moorings here. It's only been recently built.
Very modern, isn't it? A great place to come for those cafe moments, to read a book and just sample in this beautiful picturesque bay.
Well, it's brilliant, the whole coastline of Mazarron. It's so different. Earlier we were at the sand sculptures and the beautiful rural beach, and then we're right in the heart of the activity in the port. And then further along over there you've got the beautiful palm tree lined promenade going out to more beaches.
And what about the mountains, the final part of the journey? What we're going to do now is we're going to enjoy a lovely walk along the marina and the great promenade that has been improved around the bay here. And then we're going to head up into these mountains, Jess, to the Cartagena Guns.
Really is a very scenic day, and it has something for everybody. Whatever you like, it's got it.
Mazarron Port's a great place for lunch as well, with lots of opportunities and choices for those who like to have a bit of fine dining along the way.
It's certainly a busy little place, and there's lots of cafes and restaurants open.
We noticed that, didn't we, when we were driving along from Bola Nueva? Lots of little tabernas offering those, special fish delicacies.
It's a big fishing port. There's 2 types of fishing that goes on from here. There's the ships that leave at about 10 p.m. at night and come back about 4 or 5 in the morning.
That's right.
They take the fish off the top of the surface of the sea. And then there's the ones that go out in the morning about 4 or 5 a.m. and come back in the afternoon, 3 or 4, and they fish the type of fish that go down the bottom of the sea. So there's always a lot of opportunity to get your fresh fish here.
Heading off from the town of Mazarron and towards the hills, we come across Isla Plana, with one of the most picturesque harbours we've ever seen, and definitely the perfect choice to stop and have lunch. Doesn't get much better than this. What we've tried to do on every one of our programs is we always pack a picnic, don't we?
We always do have opportunity for stopping where and when we feel like it.
This is a real treat for us because we've been here many times, haven't we, Jess? And as you're looking out the window, the little secret is if you see something that catches your eye, stop.
Well, today we've discovered this beautiful little plaza looking out over the Mediterranean Sea with the church and a long promenade that we never knew existed. And how many times have we driven straight past it?
Unbelievable, and that's what we love about what we do. We're just finding out and discovering new places all the time.
We must have driven through this town a dozen times and had never noticed this beautiful cove just off the main road. This church is perched right on the edge of the cliff overlooking the sea and is dedicated to the Saint Donna del Carmen, who is the patron saint of fishermen. And it's where there are many fiestas held to celebrate and commemorate those who have dedicated their lives to the sea. Beneath the church, this idyllic little cove is typical of so many dotted along this part of the coast, and a perfect spot to visit before the climb up to the guns. We now head up into the hills, along some twisting roads towards the final goal of our day out, the magnificent Tinoso gun battery. And before turning off onto the more challenging route, although not nearly as precarious as it may appear, we pause to look down at where we've been, the port of Mazarron and the coastline towards Bolo Nuevo. Along the road are commanding views of the coastline down to the Cartagena harbour and onto the battery itself, and it is more than worth the drive along the narrow road. Catching a glimpse of the guns for the first time is a surreal experience as the mammoth proportions dwarf the battery itself. Indeed, these guns are the largest artillery pieces ever made. The castle has changed little since it was built almost a century ago, and its design and its bizarre Disney-like construction using local stone was such that it couldn't be seen by potential aggressors approaching by sea. The guns here are just a part of the whole coastal defence system built in 1926 to protect the strategically vital harbour of Cartagena, the third deepest port in the world. Many of the guns, forts and batteries can still be seen today.
Oh, this is what we've got really excited about all day, the Cartagena guns.
The highlight of the Costa Calida haze guide experience. You find yourself at the top of the world.
So tranquil and silent. And then you see these whopping Vickers guns.
Ah,
These were put in 1925. The government decided about the turn of the century, 1900s, that it needed some sort of coastal defence because of all the ships of the other armies and navies were all getting bigger and they had a lot of more range of fire and a lot more armoured, and the guns that are in Cartagena around to the left of us could only go 12 kilometres, whereas the guns on the ships that were approaching, if they were approaching, could go 35 kilometres. So that's when they decided to install a system of coastal defence known as the Vickers system, and they put in these big guns. They were fired twice.
that's right, Jess. The first time way back in 1937, where the Republicans fired on some invading nationalists.
That's it. And then again in 1973.
73, that's right.
But if you go to the military museum, the Free Military Museum in Cartagena, you'll find out about the whole history of the guns and also the other defensive systems along this coast. One's near Portman.
Yep. But what we love about this place is you are just surrounded by wall-to-wall scenery, and it's like the reenactment of getting into a real-life battleground. All the little lookout turrets, there's all little turrets coming out of the ground as there's a whole maze of tunnels under here, isn't there?
Well, it's quite a funny place. You've got these big brutal guns and then you've got these lovely little lookouts and turrets. It's like a fairyland castle and it just doesn't sit together.
No. And no matter how many times we've been up, there's always a different outlook that you get from whatever weather it is. And I've never been in here when the mist's rolling in and it's as if the guns have gone boom and all the clouds of the smoke.
All the smoke from the guns. I'm looking forward to going into the tunnels. We've brought our torch this time so we can go down below and explore the engine houses.
Well, let's go and explore. We've got the turrets to climb, we've got the tunnels to get down, and we've got the vistas to share with all our viewers. Should we go and do it?
I think so.
Brilliant.
After you.
We best go because apparently these might go off again, so we better go, Jess.
So at the bottom of the watchtower, and quite usefully, they painted all these pictures on the walls.
And these would be the ships for enemy and friendly fire to protect them from getting the right or wrong one.
So who have we got? France,
United States,
England,
and I believe there was some from New Zealand and Japan as well.
and
but
Australia. They've sadly gone. When they left here in 1993, they just seemed to walk away and just leave it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the graffiti artists have come along, but now they're renovating
Yes.
the whole complex.
Brilliant, isn't it? I love little things like that. They really bring it home to the authenticity. Beneath us, we've got a line of tunnels.
Yes, to go and explore. It's where they've had all the engines for the working of the guns. We've got our torch today, so we're going to go down. You ready?
Explore, come on.
Although most of the tunnels are accessible, it's dark and there are many obstacles to be wary of, so a torch and sensible footwear are a must, as is a sense of adventure.
Got my torch, Jess.
Good, you're going to need it. You better go ahead.
Jess, check out the sign. Belly Grove. We've always
excited.
always forgotten our torch, haven't we?
We have.
2 things you should bring here: torch and binoculars.
And picnic. 3 things. Hang on, Dave. Wait for me.
I'm getting carried away, Jess. Oh my goodness. Oh wow.
Oh, right. Lots of pipe work, pulleys.
Wow. Oh wow.
To think that they built this at the top of a mountain.
Built almost a century ago and in such an inaccessible place, the battery had to be constructed almost entirely by hand. All the material for the battery was ferried by sea to the base of the cliff, where it was manhandled up a specially constructed road to the top, and where it was painstakingly assembled.
So do we think these held the munitions?
Possibly. These could well be the ammunition housing.
And that looks like it picked up missiles from there, moved it along and took them up.
This film was taken when the battery was still occupied and the guns remained in operation. Today, you can still recognise much of the underground machinery and other workings that were too large to remove. This amazing footage not only documents how the battery was used and manned, but also the last time these immense guns were fired.
3, 2, fuego!
Things we do on a day off, Jess.
There we go. Oh my gosh, look at that coastline.
So here we are on a cloudy cliff top, the top of the Cartagena Guns. The conclusion of our scenic drive day to the Costa Calida. We've taken in many sights. Where did we start, Jess?
The old town at Mazarron, with
What?
the churches and the street market and the town hall and the castle.
Yeah, then we came down onto the coast, those stunning wind sculptures that look different every time we see them.
And don't forget the viewpoint as well at the top, so we could look out down over the coastline.
The 250 kilometres of the Calida coast, winding our way up to the Port of Mazarron and the chic cafes.
That was very nice with the lovely palm-lined promenade.
And what about the lunch stop? We never, how many times have we been here? A new place for us at Isla Plana.
Isla Plana with the Church of the Carmen down there.
And here we are now at the top of the world. Top of Murcia. Cartagena in the distance, and the end of a great day. Remember the show, remember the time, and both Jess and I welcome you back next week to find out many exciting places to visit here in the Costa Blanca. All the information about today's show and all the others in the series you can find by visiting our website at www.hayesguide.com. And remember, get yourselves a guidebook, get out there and explore this wonderful area that we have around us.
So we'll see you next time.